Jared and Amy. Hey guys, we're back.
Hello everybody. Welcome to another episode.
Another great episode, actually.
I feel like that's the goal.
We're gonna share some stories today.
We are. We have a kind of like a blast from the past that we're going to be talking about today. Before we go there, we just got back from a road trip.
Yes, we did. A long road trip, actually.
Long.
We turned an 11-hour road trip into a 13-hour road trip.
Yeah, because there's 6 of us.
Yeah.
And there's 6 bladders.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like one goes to the bathroom. But I will say we are very adamant, like when we
4
stop.
of the bladders are under 12.
Right.
So
well, I was going to put my bladder in the...
Oh, gotcha.
Because when I have to go, that is a very uncomfortable...
See, I don't know what it is.
I think I have like the size of a lima bean bladder. Like when I drink anything, especially coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I have to go so bad where it's like it hurts.
See, when I go on a road trip, and obviously this is only when I'm by myself, I just go as long as I can. So, I mean, if I can get, 4, 5, 6 hours into it before I have to stop, I mean, that's success. And there's no one that's telling me that there's a race or how long can you go, but it's just
You're just like why stop?
Yeah, there's just this sense of like accomplishment when I can do like 5 or 6 hours straight without.
That sounds amazing to me too.
Restroom.
Like if I have something to eat and something to drink, I don't want to stop. Like I'm not like, ooh, I really want to go in that really nasty bathroom. Yeah. By the way, we went in some
we picked the worst.
Disgusting. There was like we did go to a Buc-ee's that had a really nice bathroom.
Buc-ee's!
And there were like police people directing traffic because it was so busy, which is bizarre. It's bizarre / I understand the Buc-ee hype / it's crazy that many people go there. Yeah. But I mean, I get it. I go in there and I'm like, okay, this is a much nicer gas station.
They are building one by our house, by the way.
I know.
So
that's gonna be
everyone
pretty cool.
around here is getting a little hyped.
I know. I'm actually excited about it. I like Buc-ee's. I'm not saying I don't.
All of you know exactly what it feels like going on the highway and you do your best to pick the best bathroom, the cleanest bathroom, the nicest gas station, because the last thing you want to do is go to one of those places where they hand you the key with the long wooden stick attached to it that says go out back, and you step in there and like the floor is just wet and disgusting. So anyways, we've never taken this road trip before and we picked the worst.
Like somehow
we were picking the best.
But here's the problem, and here's my bone to pick with you, mister.
It was bad.
I feel like every time we stopped at a road trip,
someone's got to pump the gas.
Every time we stopped, it's me and all 4 kids.
Someone's got to pump the gas.
In a one stall bathroom, or if there was multiple stalls, like I would have them come into the stall with me.
Yeah.
Not every time, but sometimes it was like y'all just come in with me. Well, I don't know if it was one stall, but I'm just saying I had to do it all the time by myself.
Every guy that is listening to this, and there may only be one, which it may be me, but if there is a guy or if there is
there's more than one guy listening.
If there is a woman or a boy, or a woman's husband or a boyfriend listening to this, he can attest. Men's bathrooms, especially at gas station on road trips, are disgusting. I mean, these guys, they must have a contest to see who can pee around the rim of this seat. And so I'm supposed to walk in there with a 4-year-old that doesn't know where to put his hands or how to do all the things.
He does touch everything.
He's going to catch something. He's going to pick up some viral disease. And it's just so much safer. And plus, like I said, someone's got to pump the gas. I mean, we are on an unspoken race.
Oh, but when we get back in the car and I just think about all the shoes that were just in the bathroom floor, and then we get in the car and I see them like crisscross applesauce in the back, or they drop something on it's like...
That's true. When you have a carpet in your car...
disgusting.
And everyone's just sitting and standing on the carpet and you're like, wait, we were just in that disgusting bathroom. And then... people are just kind of putting their feet up, and then, Redding will grab a shoe and sometimes just play with it. You know what I mean? You're just like,
but let me just step in here and say, if he touches his shoe, I'm like, don't touch the butt. Like, I am very much.
You try, but I
know, I don't have my eye on him the whole time.
This is where we just rely on the grace and the mercy of the Lord.
It's kind of like when you go to Taco Bell, you have to turn your brain off to eat it.
Yes.
You got to turn your brain off. Although I love Taco Bell.
So, yeah.
I know you were like, where did you just go?
That's your guilty
I love
pleasure.
Taco Bell, but I know people are like, that is such like the meat. Anyway, but like when you go to the gas station bathrooms, you kind of have to just turn your brain off, make sure you wash your hands, and just when you get to where you're going, take a shower.
Like, it's so bad that we stopped one gas station. I had to go, and I stepped one foot in there and took a smell, and I said, I ain't doing it. I seriously stepped out and I said, I can wait 3 hours. Remember the one where I just stood there and I stepped and I just waited for you guys?
No.
I took one step in there. I said, I'm not doing this
we
today.
went into some that
Not today.
We went into some that smelled so bad, but it's like the kids are in the car, like begging to stop.
Yeah.
And so we had to, like, it wasn't an option. Can we wait another 3 hours?
I can risk a bladder rupture versus spending 4 minutes smelling what I was smelling in that bathroom.
4 minutes.
Well, whatever. 3 minutes. We got to wash your hands. You don't just go in there and pee and walk out.
Well, I feel like you could do it in.
Some of them are nasty enough that you may be better off not washing your hands than to sit there and to touch the knob. Anyways,
stop.
I
Okay.
digress.
We've talked too much.
I think the deal is everyone understands. Because this is real life stuff. These are real life struggles. And when you do a road trip that you're used to, you've got the nice ones pinged.
Yes.
But this was uncharted territory for us.
Now, last season we did talk about our RV road trip, which we're not going to bring that up. But I will say, Jared's about to get a nervous twitch over here, PTSD. I will say it was nice, like when we go to a gas station, you can like go to the bathroom in the RV.
Right.
That is that's a benefit. You have like your own portable bathroom,
right?
So you're not like touching everybody else's stuff. But we did not,
unless you're the person who has to change the stinky slinky. They call it the stinky slinky. Everybody, in case you didn't know, for RVs, you have to change the stinky slinky out. And if you are the fortunate one that does that, which was me, I'm mid vacation. And I asked myself, why am I doing this? Like, what? This does not sound like a vacation to me, to have people's droppings on my hands as I'm changing out the stinky slinky. So I don't know if Amy's ever gotten to this point on the podcast where she was speechless, but if you're watching on YouTube, she's having a problem right now.
I may not be able to finish.
So, but she's laughing because it's true.
Because I looked out the window and there you are. Okay, let's stop talking about bathrooms.
It was bad.
This is a refined podcast. And
yes.
We are.
We're just being real right now, so.
Okay, I'm like crying. Okay.
So if you're kind of wondering, you can go back last summer to our RV experience. We'll spare you the details. There's about 30 minutes of details in that.
Oh, that was a trip.
Never again.
No.
It'll be fun, they said.
It will. Never again until one day some of our friends convince us to try it one more time.
We had friends who were like, it'll be so much fun.
I could see them convincing us to do it again.
You won't ever want to stay in a hotel room again after you experience the open road on the RV. Man, they got us. That's for sure.
Maybe it was an April Fool's joke.
It was an April Fool's and June joke for sure.
Okay, we've got to stop talking about this.
So
okay, onward.
Onward we go.
Oh,
so
that was fun.
You get Amy on some bathroom humor.
No, you are the bathroom humor man.
This is true.
You love some bathroom. I don't like bathroom humor, but I love to laugh so hard that I cry.
Yeah.
Like when I'm done, I'm just like.
Yeah, that's your
like
high.
It's for real. Laughter.
When we hang out with friends, your only goal with hanging out with friends is the food going to be good? We better play something fun? Like, yeah, you like those things, but the main goal, you want to leave that encounter with having had laughed yourself until you almost cried and peed yourself.
Right.
And if you accomplish that, that's a win in the book.
And then we're sitting there and Jared's like, so who do you think's going to win the presidential election? I'm like, no, stop talking about this.
Yeah, you are ruining the vibes.
I know. I want to laugh. I don't want to talk about serious stuff. Okay.
This went from
but we do need
to
be aware of what's going on in the world and we need to vote wisely. Okay, moving on.
Yes.
Let's talk about what we're going to talk about now that I've regained composure here. Wow. I don't think I've ever laughed that hard on here.
Yeah. It was good, though. It was good. You got some good endorphins running through your body now and maybe some oxytocin. You're feeling good now.
Yeah, I do feel really good.
It's going to be great.
Okay. Let's go. Today we're going to talk about debt.
Yes.
Speaking of feeling great.
Bum, bum, bum.
Speaking of those warm, fuzzy feelings, let's talk about debt.
No, yeah, we are going to talk about that, but we're going to share about our own personal story.
Yeah.
Our financial freedom story.
So you go first. Let's talk
story.
about how your...
Well, not me. Everyone has a story, and we
absolutely.
all view money and handle money oftentimes by the way we were raised or through what we were exposed to as kids.
Yeah.
And we will continue to do that until we disrupt that behavior and say, "Hey, I like what I was exposed to. This is great," or "Hey, something needs to change," because we do not have to be stuck in whatever rhythm or habits or anything like that we were exposed to as kids there. So,
yeah. And we have talked about money before on the podcast, probably multiple times. But the reason we do is because learning how to handle the money that God has put in our hands, because money is a gift from God.
It's His.
We are stewards of it.
Yeah.
Learning how to handle that wisely is, first of all, super important.
Yeah.
I guess I should make this first. The Bible talks so much about money.
Yeah.
It's super important.
It touches every part of our lives.
When you handle money God's way, your life is going to be better.
Yeah.
Didn't say perfect. Didn't say there's nothing going on in other areas. But when you handle money correctly and in God's way, your relationship with your spouse is going to go so much smoother when it's handled correctly. It's either number one or number two.
Research has shown that it is the number one cause of fights in marriage, money.
And
money issues.
Which fights lead to disconnect, which leads to divorce.
Yeah. Well, the end result, yeah.
Yeah. We never want it to get to that point, but I'm just saying, like, we talk about this every once in a while, and it's because it is that important. And we really are, I'd say we're pretty passionate about it. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
we speak from place of, we are students. I don't think we're teachers. I think we're students on this.
No.
But I think we teach, from a place of, there's a fly.
Got it.
I saw it. But also we're passionate about it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, let's go back to our story. So you and I have a very different way that we were raised in terms of money.
Yeah, we were raised very similarly.
Here we go. You can do it.
Similarly.
I'm like your cheerleader. Say it. Similar.
There it is. Yes.
Whenever I can't say a word, change all of it. Yes. We were raised
pretty identical except for one area. How about that?
Go.
No, it was very consistent with how we were raised.
Yeah.
Here's the deal.
Okay.
There was one moment when I was growing up there. You know, we always had enough. Our parents always took great care of us, and you know, God was faithful in all those areas there. But there was one moment where some things shifted in my father's business, and he wasn't ready for it, and we actually had to file bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure I was in junior high, and it was a very painful experience for me because literally I watched these people come and take everything that we had. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that. You haven't, but if any of you are listening, have ever experienced that, it's
like a violating.
I can't even not even violating, but it's just like I can't even put words to it. But I remember my little sister. I looked at her, and she was 4 years younger than me, and she was trying to process. She didn't understand it either, and she was literally just bawling and crying. And I remember there was something that was within me. This thing just rose up, and it just said, like, I will never put myself in this position because I never want to feel or experience this pain and this fear and this uncertainty again. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
so that moment
marked
it
me.
Marked you completely, where you became anti-debt.
I didn't know how I became, but I just knew that I didn't like that, and I never wanted to go back.
And if you were in debt, which you were for multiple different things,
I have, yeah.
You went gangbusters to get out of it.
That shaped me. But literally, they came, took our cars, they took our house. I mean, everything was gone, and it was just kind of like, I remember it was just like, so where are we gonna live? Mm-hmm. You know, and when you experience that as a kid, it's daunting.
Yeah.
So what was your? Did you have
my
any
experience with money growing up was very different than that. My dad worked. My dad's a pastor. He still is. My mom, she stayed at home, and my parents, they were super and still are very wise with money. And so for me, I get my financial, like how I handle money. I've learned that from my parents. My mom was very wise with money, very frugal.
Your mom never worked.
She never worked.
But she considered that her job,
yeah.
I feel like.
So she was wise. Like, here's the money that dad makes. I'm going to be very wise with it. I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to be very intentional. There were so many times that she would not get the thing that everybody else would get that's like, extra, because she was just very content.
When she did without, it was reinforcing good behavior for her.
Right.
When she made those sacrifices. She's like, I'm doing my part now.
Yeah. And my parents taught me, like, you pay off your debt. They taught us to tithe. They taught us to be generous. They taught us to get out of debt, to pay the things back, so I feel like I had a very...
You're bringing that up, so I just want to make a clarity. You said your experience was very different. My parents, they tithed, they did all these different things too.
They just ran into there
was a situation that they couldn't handle, which, how many of us we have great intentions.
Absolutely.
And we have good habits, but there's some times where we just make mistakes.
Yeah.
So anyways, I just want to bring that caveat up in there. So.
Yeah, but I didn't have a situation that happened like that. I just was taught
everything was just ripped out.
Right. So when we got married, like my parents did pay for my college.
That's a blessing.
Which is a blessing because I was able to graduate and I had no debt.
I married a sugar mama.
Yeah. I got out of college, got a job, and I started, I didn't have a ton of money saved, but I had a little bit of money saved. And so it was just like being able to come into adulthood like that was a blessing. And I know not everybody has that. And people, my parents, for example, my dad worked his way through college and he paid for his way to get through and came out debt free. Nobody paid, you know what I mean? So there's different stories there. But anyway.
So what's happened is now Amy and I, we come together in marriage with different experiences.
With these forces combined.
And so, but what has happened actually is, because a lot of times in marriage, you'll have a saver and a spender. Well, in our case, our whole marriage, we've both become savers for different reasons.
Right.
And I feel like you've taken on your mother's role because that's what you saw displayed in front of you. Like, here's what we do kind of thing. And so I have a hard time getting you to spend money sometimes. It's like, stop.
Correct.
You can spend money on that. It's okay.
Right.
And you're just like, no, I don't want to. So
and
which is a blessing, by the way.
Yeah.
I
have a hard time getting Jared to spend money sometimes too.
Yeah.
It really does depend on what it is we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, what is the thing we're saying we should spend money on? I think it depends on, like, there's sometimes that one will do more. We kind of have a little bit of a dance there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are both very.
Yeah.
We're goal oriented and we are.
Yeah.
Savers, and sometimes it's
to a fault.
To a fault. Yes, I wasn't going to say that in like some amazing way.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is to a fault.
Yes.
But again, I said at the beginning, we're not teachers, we're students. We have learned from different people, from life experiences, from listening and reading and whatever, and we are trying to put into play the way that we should handle money God's way.
Yeah. So we got married and I was in a lot of debt.
Yes.
So I went to school, got my doctorate, did not pay cash for it. My parents did not pay for my college. I was very thankful though. My grandma, she did give me some money. When she passed away, she gave me some money and I loved that I was able to use that. And that was a big,
sweet Nana.
Very, very thankful for that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I had to pay for the rest of my college. And so we had to pay it off. And when we came into debt, essentially, simply put, when we came into marriage, simply put, we just lived on your income. You were a teacher making tons of money.
No.
And no, she wasn't. But we just said, hey, listen, I'm an associate doctor. You're a teacher. Let's just act like I'm not making any money and we'll just live on your salary. And we just did without for a long time. But our why was that we wanted to get out of debt. We don't like being slaves.
Right.
We want to be in the driver's seat when it comes to our finances versus every single month have this money has to go over here. It has to.
Or you have debt hanging over your head that gets interest and gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And then you look and say, wait, I thought I owed this, but now I owe this.
Yes.
It was like, I don't want this to balloon larger than it needs to be.
Yeah. So, I mean, for a lot of you listening, if you find yourself in debt, like, there is a way out.
Yeah.
So much of it is behavior instead of head knowledge. We can know a lot of things, but really it has to do with our behavior. There's so many people, and I can fall into this category. We buy things because we think, well, I deserve this. I've worked hard for this. I bonused this month. Or I got a big bonus this year, so I deserve this. And so you deserve to be a slave? Like, is that what, like,
Yeah.
if, you know what I mean? Like, if there's certain things that we're buying and we can't afford them.
Yeah,
like,
that's the key, is when you can't afford it.
Yeah.
That's the key. Because there are times that you may set a financial goal and you reward yourself. Because we're supposed to enjoy this life. We're supposed to enjoy, but when you can't afford something and you say, well, I deserve it and I'm going to just get it anyway.
Yeah.
That's not using wisdom.
Absolutely. And so really it comes back to, what is your why? And, for us, I wanted to get away from the uncertainty. I never want to put myself in the position, our children, you and our family, in that position to where literally everything gets taken away. Mm-hmm. And so we just went gangbusters with all of our debt.
Yeah.
And praise God, we were able to pay it off, I think, in 6 years. Don't quote me, but 6 or 7 years, we were able to just knock it all out. And but what I will tell you this, once you get debt free, be careful, because you will find yourself wanting to slip back into it. Mm-hmm. The most recent example we talked about this a few podcasts ago, but my car got totaled. Someone ran a red light and hit me, and my car is just gone. But the deal was gone. But the deal was Amy's car, we were saving up to get hers replaced. And so hers was the one that was supposed to go first. That fly just loves you, girl. I know, he loves. So anyways, I thought, you know what? Hey, and this is just our conviction here, okay?
Yeah, what we're about to say, I mean, there were even people that we trust and respect that thought, well, we did this a little backwards. They were like, going to get Amy the car, but we really couldn't at this point, because we've been going after certain financial goals. We weren't prepared to buy you a car. Mm-hmm. And so to do that, we would have had to go back into debt. And I was pushing, and I was like, it's fine, we'll get it paid off in no time, et cetera, et cetera. But then I just thought of all the sacrifices that we've made in our marriage and in life, and all the times that we did without. And it was just like, really? Mm-hmm. Like, because here's the deal, we could just make a lateral move and just get another car and we're fine. You know what I mean? And so it came down to, there was one night. I like my car. My car is older, has a lot of miles, but I mean, it works
great.
It's a great car.
It's a dependable car.
It fits everybody. It's exactly what so I was very content with keeping my car.
But it came down to, there was like a few weeks ago, and we were both going to bed, and you were just like, you're almost upset.
I was, because you kept looking for a car. I was like, I don't want to go back into debt. I'm going to take care
of her. She deserves this. We deserve to get her a new car. But you just got upset. And you're like, I do not want a new car. And it wasn't that she didn't want a new car. Well, she kind of did.
Well, I like the car.
Yeah. But she was like,
the new one.
I don't want to go back into debt.
So here's the deal for me. I said this, I don't know. I mean, for me, luxury is financial freedom.
That is your luxury.
It really is. Like, to know that I don't owe anybody anything, that to me is luxury. Driving my car, which again, I like my car. I think it's a nice car. I'm not driving. I mean, I'm not putting my car down. I'm just saying it's paid for.
It's dependable. It's paid for.
It's paid for. It's dependable. But really, like, financial freedom is luxurious to me. And I would much rather have financial freedom than driving in a nicer car and not have the financial freedom.
Yeah. No, I get it.
And that's how my brain, that's how I work. And so it's just like, I don't want that. Mm-hmm. It's a car.
Yeah.
It gets me. Now, if my car was not safe, if my car didn't work, if my car was breaking down on the side of the road every 2 days with my 4 children, that's obviously a different story, but it works.
That's why everyone who's listening should have an emergency fund.
Yes.
Saved up. You know what I mean? Something that's just saved up in case there's an emergency. So you
then you don't have to go take out a loan or go to the credit card company and all this stuff.
You can stay in the driver's seat. You don't have to be the victim.
Right.
Right. And be in the passenger seat.
Right. So what we did is we ended up we did a lateral move, and we got Jared a truck with the money from the insurance company. And I think your truck's really cool, by the way.
Thank you.
I think it looks really cool.
Thank you. And
I'm still in mine, and we are financially free. And it feels so good. Like, it just is like, that was the right decision for us.
It really was. And I think the thing for me was just remembering the sacrifices that we made to get here.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't planned to get hit by someone running a red light. None of that was in our plans, and so that was the big catalyst there. But it's just like, wow, I don't want to go back into that. So I think you hit the nail on the head. There's a big peace of mind that you get when you're debt free there.
Right. And if you're listening to this and you're like, but I have so much debt and I only make this amount of money and there's just no way that I can do it. Well, you gotta start attacking it. Like you've got to start going after it. You can't have a victim mindset and just be like, well, que sera, sera. I'm just gonna let it be. It's whatever. Like you can, yes, you may have a large amount of debt and you may not make as much, but go after it.
Yeah.
Go after your debt and be intentional with your money and be wise with your money. And there's so many tools, and y'all probably know lots of different tools and apps and things that you could go to really manage your money well. But you've got to do it. You can't ever think, well, that can't be me.
Well, there's two really big things that are coming up in my mind, and that is, number one, what is your why? Do you want to be debt free just to be debt free, or are you wanting to do something bigger than just the here and now, than just the next shiny thing that you see? Are you wanting to leave an inheritance for your children? Are you wanting to have freedom the older you get to be able to go on a vacation or make memories with your kids? What is your why? And if you can get crystal clear on that, that's going to give you so much strength in those times when you're tempted by watching that commercial, or you're scrolling on social media, or you're hitting those Amazon deals. Right. That's going to help you. But then number two, you got to know where you're at. And so I would say do a budget. Get a monthly budget in place so that you can know exactly where your money is going every single month.
And we still do this. Like we still, at the beginning of every month, I will make a list on my phone and I'll send it to Jared. And our budget looks different now than it did when we first got married. But I mean, I will still tell him, here's the things I need you to set aside. He obviously has an not a necessarily emergency, but like cushion, but it's just like, here's the things that I'm having to do with getting curriculum, or getting this, or doing this, or this, or this. We're going to the orthodontist this next Wednesday.
Yeah,
we've crested over into like a new
teenage teeth.
But yeah, we still do that. And
it just becomes a rhythm.
And it makes us both know what is happening.
At first it was kind of hard. It was a little difficult. It took time. But once you get the rhythm of it, and it's just like, it's the expectation. It's like, hey, I'm about to do the budget. Make sure you send over everything that we need to be budgeting for.
And I think it also, like when you go to pep rallies, it's like team building. You're like getting all fired up. Like when you set your budget, it's almost like it's like a pep rally for our team, our financial team. Because it's like, you know what I need. I know what you need. And you'll, when you do set the budget, you're like, here's what we made. Here's what we're doing. Here's where I put this and this. And it's just like, we kind of just have like a powwow. So we know where we are. And because you got to know where you are to know where you're going.
Exactly.
But when you do kind of jump on this train, and I hope everybody has, because,
or if you haven't, start today. It's never too late. Never too late.
Go to the train station and get on.
Yeah, girl.
But if you are on the train of like, I want to get out of debt, I want to be financially free, I want to be, and again, the goal is to be a good steward of the money God's given us. We also have to guard against pride, because the normal is seeing everybody just blowing money and just building up all these credit card debts and all this stuff. And there can be a little bit of you that can kind of look down at somebody or judge them, or you're so prideful because you're like, but I would never do that. And to that, I would say, keep your eyes on your paper. Obviously, be a helper.
What does comparison do? It does two things. Do you remember?
It either makes you feel self-defeated.
Yeah, comparison, it depresses you because you don't measure up to whatever false standard you've created, or what you're talking about.
It puffs you up and you start looking down at people. And so if you do handle money wisely, make sure you handle your pride wisely in God's way, and boast about the Lord. Like, I'm doing this because God has taught me, and I'm obeying how He said to handle money. But don't get cocky about it. Be a helper. Be a encourager to people. And when people make wrong decisions with money, I mean, it's not really. That's not like my job to come in there and say that was a foolish thing for you to do. When nobody asked me.
I heard one person say one time, and they weren't talking about money, but they were talking about someone that makes a mistake. And he said the old version of him would have said, I can't believe he did that. How dare he do that? I would never do something like that.
Yeah.
But he said the new version of him that he's learned how is to be compassionate for that individual and to realize that really could be me. Had I been raised that certain way, had I been influenced by those certain things, I literally was 1 or 2 decisions away from being right there where that person is. And so having compassion for someone and letting that motivate you to help them, to help others. So anyways, I think that's good in every area of life, is to just realize that, realize God's mercy and his grace in your life, being generous with other people, but also having compassion for people and seeing where they're at and helping them wherever they're at to move forward to that next level.
You're right. Because their why could be, well, nobody ever taught, they could,
100%.
Nobody ever taught me how to handle money. Or their why could be, I'm just trying to keep up with the Joneses. And that's just a whole 100%. Own self-confidence issue where they're just trying to get something so that people think that they're and there is compassion for that, because our identity is in Christ. Our identity is not in what we have. Our identity is not showing off whatever we're driving or where we live, or that's not where our identity is. So.
I looked up an interesting fact, and I wonder, does anybody know this? I've never thought to ask this before, but I asked Google, when was the last time the United States was debt-free? And I wonder, does anybody know this?
I'm going to go with nobody knows
What do they call these things? Trivia, right? Yeah, this is, which I cannot stand trivia, by the way. What's that game?
Trivial Pursuit.
Trivial Pursuit. Oh my goodness.
Jared has when we play that game, he is literally, he turns into a toddler, it's pouting in the corner.
It's like, what movie back in 19 da-da-da-da-da, and the star did, and I'm like, who's got time to watch movies? I'm busy living in the real world.
Who's got time to watch movies? Almost everybody.
I know, but it's just it just asks about these different actors and I'm just like, guys, come on.
Whose picture is hanging in the Philadelphia library?
There it is.
That's the type of questions that just make you angry.
Let's play some Rook. Let's play some hand
Spades.
foot. Let's play some Monopoly.
No,
all the fun things.
Yes.
So
no, but we played Trivial Pursuit, and I looked over, and he literally, this guy, was pouting.
Well, here's the deal.
In the corner, and I'm like,
at
least act normal.
Here's the deal. These were some close friends, and so I could share my emotions. If it was someone that was
he flipped the table.
Right. If it was someone that we were just kind of acquaintances with, I'd be like, okay, this is great, guys. But these were close friends, and so it was okay.
Yes, yeah.
But what's the answer? Does anybody know? That's the question.
Ask the question again, because we've gotten everybody off track.
When was the last time the United States was completely debt-free?
I know, because it's written right there.
Yeah, it's right there. I'll tell you. Here it is. In case anyone was curious. I know I was. It was back in 1835.
That's crazy.
When President Andrew Jackson paid off the national debt.
Crazy.
Is that not insane? 1835.
And now how much debt do we have?
34 trillion.
With a T.
So guys, listen, what we were talking about is very countercultural. Very countercultural, okay?
Because it's so easy to get a credit card.
This podcast is called The Different Life. So we want to be countercultural. What were you going to say?
It's so easy to get a credit card and just build up credit card debt and not pay it off. It's so easy to go get a loan and just be like, I'll pay it off and I'll pay it off. And it just adds up. And again, we have been there.
Yes.
We've had student loan debt.
Yes.
We've had house debt. We've had car debt.
Yes, all the things.
We've had it. We know what it feels like. But you got to go after it and you got to attack it. And you got to make sure that you are buying or purchasing, I know those are the same words, what you can afford.
Yeah.
Don't buy a car that is...
Act your wage.
Yeah. Don't buy a car that's way more than you can afford, because then it's going to be even harder to get out of debt.
Yeah.
Don't buy a house that you can't go after and pay off.
Yeah.
Don't, all these things. You've got to use wisdom.
Yeah.
And then you've got to put the hard work into it.
Yeah.
You've got to learn contentment.
Amy's getting after it right now.
I told you, we are passionate about this.
Man.
Nobody may be passionate about this.
She's passionate about it. I'm just kind of along for the ride, right?
No, you are not. No. But you can do it. I think with money there's hope.
There's so much, we've talked about this, but there's so much peace that comes, in my mind, our relationship. Our relationship it's just all the things we've experienced the debt, and it's just such a strain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just when you clean this slate, it's just like,
and going back to marriage, and I'm sure is in other relationships, but especially marriage, because your money is my money, my money is your money. I don't make any money.
Which that's a good tip, by the way. If you are married,
you should be one.
Put both of your, if you are both working or anything like that, put it both in one account. The two shall become one. It's really hard to go after goals when you guys are living separate lives with your finances. Yeah,
I'll pay this and you pay that. And no, don't do that.
Can you get there? Sure. But when it's both of your money, it's just.
And when you do it together, then it's y'all's victory together.
Absolutely.
But I know for us, and we have many other areas where we have disagreements or fights or whatever. The great Brussels sprout battle of 2015. I don't know what year it was. I made that up.
I didn't pick it up quick enough.
There was a Brussels sprout battle. But anyway.
I didn't move quick enough.
Can't remember the year. But anyway. But I will say, because we have been intentional, because we have been on the same page with money, financial arguments are not a thing that we have.
Very minimal.
Very minimal. I mean, me the other night saying, don't buy me that car.
It literally was a for real thing. And I will tell you.
I didn't yell at you.
That is a blessing that I have a wife that is that way. Because I know a lot of people aren't that way. But I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, I'm like, why am I going to sit here and go into debt to get you this car that you were adamant that you don't even want? And it's true. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. But anyway, you can do it.
Yeah.
And go back to the very beginning. Everything, not just money, but everything we have is from God.
Yeah.
The breath in our lungs, the gifts, the talents, everything. Yeah. And yes, the money that God has put in our hands, it's from Him. Mm-hmm. We need to be good stewards of it.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, I don't know if a lot of people have made this connection. I hadn't for the longest time. You know the parable of the wages of the talents? Mm-hmm. So the master gives, Jesus is telling this parable.
Right.
And he gives the different talents. He gives one servant 10, one servant 5, one servant 1. Mm-hmm. Well, there's the one guy that went and buried it. He didn't even put it into the bank to get interest.
Didn't even do it.
He was afraid and he just buried it and did nothing with it.
And Jesus said...
The master in the parable said...
Oh, yeah.
Jesus said that the master said...
Yeah.
You wicked and lazy servant. Yep. And whose money? He took that money and who did he give it to? He gave it to the guy who had the 10 talents. And what I've learned from that is if you show yourself to be faithful with what God has given you, like he can trust you with more.
Yeah.
Versus he puts all these things in your hand and we're just just becoming a slave in all these different areas of our life.
Yeah. It's accurate because Jesus said it, but that's like, he said, you wicked and lazy. He didn't lose the one talent.
No, he had it.
He had it.
He did nothing with it.
He didn't come back and say, ooh, I lost it. He came back and said, here's exactly what you gave me.
Yeah.
And he said, you wicked and lazy servant. So, yeah.
And we're talking money, but that goes with talent. That goes with gifts, abilities, everything.
We need to use what God has given us.
Yeah.
And if we don't know how to handle it, we've got to learn.
Yeah. Ask a mentor. That's been one thing, a mistake that I've made is thinking in different parts of my life that I got it figured out or I've had the right instruction in my life, and it's held me back.
You've gotten so much better though. You are very quick to.
It's held me back.
You've learned.
If you don't know how to do all these different things we talk about, find a mentor. Mm-hmm. Don't waste 10, 15 years or go off of whatever your family did when you were younger, right?
And find a mentor, if we're talking about money, find a mentor who is handling money God's way. Don't just find a mentor that you enjoy talking to.
Yeah.
You got to find somebody who's actually handling money.
Buy a bunch of investment properties, 10 of them for $0 down.
Yeah. Don't find them.
No.
But go to somebody who handles it wisely, who pays their tithes. They're generous.
Yes.
And they have built up. And again, it's not about wealth, but it's about handling. I keep saying it, but
here's the deal. People's car rides are coming to an end right now because they listen to this, and we have taken them.
Oh, goodness.
They're about to be late for dinner, for their meeting,
for their job,
for gymnastics, wherever they're going. So it's summertime.
Backflips.
Yes. So, but anyways, I think we hit the nail on the head.
We did.
So
okay.
But all right, guys. Well,
you can do it, y'all.
You can do it. We're here to encourage you.
Jesus can give you the wisdom and the help and the motivation, and the Holy Spirit can help you get there.
What she said.
True that.
All right, guys. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.